Hello and welcome to Thoughts of a Trainer. Today I want to go back to just talking about other things that we can do to make life better, to trade in ideas, have awesome ideas that empowers us to do our own things and to do responsible business, responsible technology, and responsible economics. Things that make real profit rather than racing to the bottom, we race to the top. And in this episode, I want to talk about the idea. I want to talk about the ideas of the infinite game. The idea that basically life. A lot of people, well, pretty much everybody thinks about games, life as not a game or as a game. So in that aspect, we think about life is not a game. It's so serious. All these problems that happen to us, things that happen to us. And we just have to react to things. We have to deal with whatever life throws our way. We're basically living a life, feeling like we're under somebody else's rule. That we have to follow somebody else's rules and regulations and systems. Basically means that we're playing a game that we don't know is a game, that we don't know the rules of. We're on a chessboard where you feel like somebody else is the master, is the player. We're just pieces. And you hear that sentiment a lot in people that are disadvantaged, that are disenfranchised, that are disempowered. You hear that a lot. The big players, the one percenters, the rich, the government, the people in power, the companies, blah, 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 that these people have the power to do this and that to your life, to our lives, to dictate how we live our lives and what we do with our lives. You hear that a lot. On the other side, you have the idea of the infinite game, where you are aware of the game that is going on. You're aware of the chessboard. You're aware of the Monopoly game, whatever game that you view it as playing. You're aware that life is more like a game. And in that meaning, what I mean by that is that we have a lot of opportunity, empowerment to make our lives what we want to be. Those who believe in the infinite game, who realize life is an infinite game, are always finding ways to maximize their opportunities and maximize their fortunes, maximize their profits and their abilities. They realize life doesn't happen to them. They make life happen. That life is an effect of what they've done before, or what their environment is. Very much like how if you play a video game or play a sports game or a board game or anything like you play, your environment, the setting of the game, dictates what kind of things you can do in that game. The rules of that game dictates how you can move in that game. The goal, the metrics, the way you count the winning points or the losing points dictates how you are viewing that game, how you are able to perceive whether you are winning or losing or just playing the game. People can see that when you view life as a game. And an infinite game means that it doesn't stop. There's always something more to do. There's always another level to go up to. There's always more that you can do to maximize your chance of winning this game. Or rather, the game never wins. The fun is in playing the game in the first place versus being played by it. Now, the question is, how do we distinguish between the infinite game and the finite game? Because everybody is in a game. Even if you don't think so, the very fact that you feel like other people have power, that you feel like other people are playing you, that you feel like other people are having some kind of advantage, means that you already think that you're in a game. You already know that you're in a game. And by the very concept of a game, life is that game. Because the very concept of the game is having, but there's a bunch of concepts really. I can go in all day. I'm a video game player, so there's a big debate of what is a game and what's not a game. But usually it's whether or not you can meet a goal, like you have a goal, and getting to that winning state. You have a gameplay, which means the way in which you play that game, the way in which you maneuver through that created world, and how your moves can affect your chance of winning or losing that game. And life is pretty much that right there. You set up a goal for yourself. You say, I'm going to be this. What? I'm going to be this. I'm going to be this. I'm going to do that. I want to be this. I want to do that. I want to have this amount of money. Blah, 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 blah. We set up a goal. And we figure out how we can achieve that goal. If that's not a game, I don't know what is. And so the problem with this is that many people cannot see that this is a game, even though they act like this is the game. It's a very interesting, scenario to be in, where you feel like other people have the power over you, to control you, to dictate what your life is going to be. For instance, public education, going to college. You feel like you have to go to college because that's the traditions, that's the rules. That's the rules of the game. You go to school, you do your best in school, graduate from high school, then go to college, pass your classes, pass your tests, get your degree, go on to the next level, which is, get your own life. And even that life is not free, according to this game. According to most people, you graduate college, use your degree, get a job, get an entry-level position, work your way up the ladder, appeal to this person, kiss up to that person, do this, do that, and then you achieve a promotion. You'll be able to buy your house then. You unlock the abilities to buy your house, to start a family. You have to start a family, apparently. Especially if you're a woman, you're expected to have children, to get married, or you're not complete. You didn't complete the mission. But then once you have that, you can get a bigger house, or a lot of people just end up staying at that house, paying off that house for the rest of their lives. Or getting a bigger house and a bigger house until you're paying off that house for the rest of your life. Then you might retire. At least originally, one of the last levels of that game, the end game, is to retire. Lay back while your kids pamper you, and you die as your kids do the game all over again. It's pretty sad that most people think of life like that. They already think of life as a game, but they don't realize that they even see it as a game, and so they end up getting played by the game instead of actually playing the game. Because the goal of the game of life is not to follow these rules. It's to make your own rules. It's not a theme park game, like an MMO, where you have a mission you go up to and do. It's not an RPG where you have to follow these rules. It's not a board game or a Monopoly or this, that, and the other. It's his own game. I will liken it to a sandbox game. An open world sandbox game, which means you pretty much make up whatever game you want to have inside that game. A sandbox MMO, the ultimate sandbox MMO, allows you to do whatever you want. You can make up your own missions. You can have no missions. You can make up your own goals, have no goals. You can go find people to fight or not. You can go be a PvP or a player versus player. You can go fight mobs, fight monsters. You can go on quests or do nothing. You can go craft things or sell them or trade them or whatever you want to do. You can mess with the environment. You can even, and maybe even in the most ultimate of games, you can go and code, little other games inside of that system, that infrastructure, and add it to the game. This is a sandbox open world game. But unfortunately, many people are playing somebody else's game within that game. Somebody else set up the system of do this, do that, go to do public education to become a conformist, and then go to college to learn what they want you to learn, to get a degree that signals that you're employable, that uses another person's institution to signal your value, to dictate your value, and then go and buy a house and pay that off for the rest of your life, or just keep on doing it like that. You're playing somebody else's game that somebody else set up. You're following somebody else's path. But in order for us to feel fulfilled about life, in order for us to enjoy life, to feel like we're actually succeeding, is to make our own game. It's to make our own way in this sandbox world. Instead of being confined to this one little corner of the playground, we can strike out and make our own section of the playground, or just adventure across all of them, or whatever we want to do. Most people don't realize that they can do this, and that this is the point of life. This is the purpose, to figure out your purpose, not to let somebody else tell you what your purpose is. Many people don't realize that work is what somebody else told us our purpose is. Work is not life. Just because we work for a living doesn't mean that to work means to live. We don't live to work. Somebody else told us that we have to work to live. We don't live to work. Somebody else told us that we must work to live. And so now this coming age of automation has everybody scared, has all of these people that don't realize life is a game. They are scared. You are scared. Because they believe that work is life. That if they can't work, then they're just going to sit, everybody's just going to sit there and be lazy and go fat and be useless. But this is proven absolutely nowhere in history. Absolutely nowhere in history. They say, "Oh, look at America. People don't work and they're all fat and stuff." America's one of the most obese places. People became obese not because of work or because they didn't have work. It's completely separate from the matter. It's because they had unhealthy lifestyles. Simple as that. In fact, in America, depression is one of the biggest conditions, one of the biggest health conditions. And it's becoming bigger and bigger. Depression due to work. Depression due to not knowing what you want to do, not feeling like the work is fulfilling. A lot of people feel like they are not living a fulfilled life. Even those who achieve great things. We all know them. Don't even have to say it. People who committed suicide despite being at the top of the world, despite being loved by so many people, commit suicide. Because they do not feel a fulfilled life. They feel like for all their lives, they had to follow what somebody else said they had to do. They had to follow somebody else's traditions and constraints, somebody else's gameplay, somebody else's rules for living the life they want to live. That is tragic. And we have the ability to stop this. We have the ability to actually capitalize on this, not in a bad way, because in a negative way, it's just a race to the bottom. And not only will you become bankrupt in the end, but you will make everyone become bankrupt in the worst way possible, not just financially, but emotionally, psychologically, morally. No. Next episode, I'm going to talk about how we can turn the infinite game into one of the best ways to profit. Thank you for listening to this episode of Thoughts of a Trillionaire. Bye-bye.